So, Dan Hooker is in need of a dance partner, and so is Rafael dos Anjos. And I'm rubbing my hands in anticipation because that is a fight that I want to see. Now, obviously, we last saw Dan Hooker against Michael Chandler, where he got TKO'd on Fight Island. He probably got knocked out. We'll call it a knockout. Let's give Chandler some credit. Where he got knocked out on Fight Island. He then, of course, had to quarantine for like another 40 days or something before he went back to his family. Took his gloves off in the cage. Was very disappointed with himself, with his performance. And, you know, then he had to quarantine, as I said, for 40 days. It's a lot to go through mentally for a 40-second fight, which actually what it turned out to be. There was obviously a lot riding on that fight. And now he's seen Michael Chandler, the guy that knocked him out, walk straight into a title fight. Which, let's be honest, had that have been Dan Hooker, that probably would have been him against Charles Oliveira, the way things panned out. But he wasn't to know that. So now we look at what's next for Dan Hooker. And when we look at kind of the rankings, Dan Hooker is number 8. And Rafael dos Anjos somehow is number 7 still. Conor McGregor sits number 6. And then Tony Ferguson, Michael Chandler, Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier. But that, when I look down the whole list, aside from Hooker versus Gaethje, which probably isn't going to happen because as we discussed in a previous video, Gaethje's probably going to sit. Dan Hooker versus RDA is a great fight. And now we've seen Dan Hooker against Paul Felder, which was an all-out war. We've seen Dan Hooker against Dustin Poirier, which was an all-out war. And we've seen RDA most recently against Paul Felder, which again was an all-out war. So when you ask me, what fight am I most excited for in the lightweight division? There is a couple. But Paul Felder versus Rafael dos Anjos is definitely up there. There's so much you can do with that fight. You know, we've obviously got Conor and Dustin that's going down. We've got Oliveira versus Chandler that's going down. Tony Ferguson versus Beneil Dariush is going down. I would like to see the winner of RDA and Dan Hooker fight the winner of Ferguson Dariush. Can you imagine Paul Felder versus Tony Ferguson? Or Tony Ferguson versus Dan Hooker? Those are some serious fights. And that lightweight division is just the gift that keeps on giving. What do you think? That, for me, opens a world of possibilities. Look how excited I am.